Hey guys, this will be a shorter video. I just want to do visual effect for our loot and also do a couple of improvements. So for the visual effect, what we're going to do is go to blueprints, right click, and we're going to create Niagara system. In here we're going to select the hanging particulates, create it, and this one will be loot emitter _ns for Niagara system. Let's open it up. And in here we pretty much have everything that we need set up. So in a spawn rate, you got how many particles you're actually spawning. So we're going to change it to only like 4. Then on an initialized particle, you got the lifetime. So how long it actually lasts, this particle. So that is in seconds. So same as a spawn rate, which is how many particles per second. And this one is how many seconds it's going to last. So we can change it to something like 2 and 6. So between 2 and 6 it's random. And then for shape location, at the moment the box where these particles can spawn is very big, but we want to have it only from the one place. So I'm going to change this box size to only 1, 1, and then 20. And you can't still really see it very well. You do have some particles here. So in an initialized particle, we can change the color. I found out that the orangey color is quite nice for the loot effect, and it doesn't actually fight with any other colors in the game. So just do something like that, bright orange. And then here in the particle update, we're going to add gravity force. So click on a plus icon and add gravity force, and this will add gravity, but we don't want them to be falling down. Instead we want to have them going up, so I'll change this to 100. And now you do have effect that they go from bottom to the top. If you want to change size, you do have this sprite attributes in an initialized particle, and you got again random uniform, which goes from 2 or to 3.5 maximum. You can change it to uniform, and that will just have a one size. And if you want really massive particles, it will be like 100. But I'm going to just keep random uniform and do maybe 3 to 4. So they're not all the same size. And now that is pretty much all we had to change, so we can save this. And now in our items, we could either add it to the interactable items, which would add it to all of the items in the world. But at the moment they are quite packed on top of each other, so it wouldn't look too good. So instead I'm just going to add it to my loot bag. So in the loot bag, add Niagara, particle system component. This will be loot emitter. Make sure it's a child of the mesh, because otherwise, I'll show you in a second. So in the Niagara system, let's search for loot emitter. And now if you compile and save, you play the game, and you can see the bugs got a quite nice effect next to them. I'm not sure if you can see it really well. I'm going to just add one loot bug here. And then yeah, you have a bit of an effect, which is quite nice, and you can see it from further away, so you don't actually miss out on your loot. And then once you loot it, it will disappear. And then if you haven't actually attached it to the mesh, what would happen is that if you drop the item from some height, then the emitter would actually stay where it is, where it was spawned. Okay, so it needs to be attached to the mesh. Let's put it back here. Right, that's one thing. Then for small improvement, I want this window to spawn somewhere on the side, not directly in the middle. That's usually how you can see it in the games. That most of them, when you open the loot, you do have a windows on the side. So what we can do for that is go to loot container, and on the border, on the first one that we have, we can just offset it by maybe 250. I'll do 300. and then maybe 150. And now if you play the game, it's a little bit on the side, so it looks a bit better, but that's about the preference. Now one more thing we can do is actually show tooltip, so you can see what the stats are on the item and stuff like that. And tooltip at the moment is quite a mess, because what I try to do is I try to avoid actually adding or setting the item info on the spawn. And if you open the tooltip, you can see that now we got all these variables that we have to use, and we have to set where we're actually setting it from. So I'm actually going to do it in a much simpler way. And that is that every time we're spawning the tooltip, we just, after that we create a widget, we're going to set the item info and then just call this create stats, which will set the whole tooltip. Okay, so in here, we're going to remove everything after player reference. So this whole part, delete it, delete type. You can delete this macro, also remove macro from here. And from these, we don't need tooltip type, item index, item type, and actor reference. Just delete it all. Compile and save. And now from one of these bindings, we need to find the one for this color. So it's the second border here, and in here we're getting the player reference. But we're going to set it in a different way, so sometimes the player reference might give us an error. So instead, right click, convert to validated get, connect it here, and if it's valid, we will set this. If it's not valid, we will not set it. That will prevent all the issues. Compile and save. Then for the price, we also need if it's a buy icon or a sell icon. So every time we open the tooltip from the trader, so we're going to set up one variable, which is buy icon. We'll make it instance editable and expose on spawn. Compile and save. And then on the price, so click on this price here, search for the binding, and here we're going to remove this select and just do one empty select. Connect it to return value. This will be here, is buy icon, and if it is buy icon, so that means we are buying, it will be price, and if it's not, then it will be sell price. Compile and save. And then in the event graph, what else we need to change? This seems to be all the same. So now we just need to actually create the tooltip. So first let's do it in the loot icon. So open loot icon, click on the button, search for tooltip. And we're going to bind this tooltip widget, create binding. And here we will do branch and check if this item info is valid. So break it open, check from class is valid class. So if it's not an empty item, and from true we will create a widget, which will be tooltip. And is by icon, we should have, right, we're not in a traders. So here we don't have to set it. Default value. What should the default value be? Buy icon or sell? Sell. So it needs to be false. Okay, it is false. So in the loot icon, we just set this. From the return value, we will set item info. So now we're setting it after, and we won't have to actually set it into this create widget. And get it from here. And then also call create stats, which will set all the stats. And you need to connect this return value to return node. Redirect. And redirect this as well. Right, that's tooltip in the LUT icon. Now we need to change it in our inventory icon. So inventory icon, go to, I can already see it here. So I do have it open, get tooltip widget is this one here. So double click on it to open it. And then we can remove this part, remove the type, refresh this. And then here we'll do the same as we did in LUT icon, so we can actually copy this part. Nope. Where did I go? So return, and create stats. Right, don't forget to make sure that item info is connected correctly. And that's inventory icon. So if something you don't like, refresh. It doesn't like this. Oh, I didn't connect the return. So from the return value, set item info. And then one last place is from the trader. So trader icon, trader inventory icon, again button, tooltip, or you can just go to graph and get tooltip widget. And here we don't need this part. We'll just connect is by icon, refresh this. We don't need trader reference or inventory and index. And again, we're going to set item info. And then call the set create stats, or set just create stats. There we go. And a new tooltip is set. And it's much easier this way, I think. And like once they actually fix the update that we can create the widget and set the struct directly, then I'll probably do it even simpler. So we will be setting it directly here and we don't have to do all of this. But for now, there is an issue, so let's leave it like this. Okay, so that should be tooltips working. So in the inventory, okay, I do have sell price and everything in this one. Buy price, selling price, that working fine. And in these ones, it's fine. We do have stats generated on the gold. I can see I'm going to change it from legendary to common and I'm going to give it a value. So in the blueprints items data table, I'm going to change my gold to common quality because I don't think it should be legendary. And then I'm going to give it value price and sell price of 1, so it actually shows something. Save it. And now you probably have noticed that obviously these mannequins are catapulting high into air, and that is just the time dilation and set physics. So I'm going to finally remove the time dilation because I said to you that I want to have game post, and I can't do it with the actual node post game because then my preview actor won't be able to animate, because animating actually needs time to move. So I'll still remove it anyway because I'm a little bit sick of fixing it, but if anyone wants to keep it, then let me know. I'll show you how to fix it as well for these enemies and dummies. But it will just get progressively more complicated. So for now, in the player, I'm going to go to where my inventory is, remove this set global time dilation and disable physics, also enable physics and time dilation, and connect it back. And then on a preview actor, also remove this set custom time dilation. There we go. And now we don't need these functions called disable physics and enable physics. And now these mannequins won't fly around, okay, because they have normal collision. Okay, one more thing. There is just a little thing that I have noticed, that if you go with your camera behind these traders or any NPCs, it will block the camera. I don't really like it, so the way we're going to fix it is go to your NPCs, base NPC, and first on the mesh, scroll down to collision presets, and here do custom collision, and just do ignore camera. Compile and save, but that might not fix the issue. As you can see, it's still happening, and that is because we also have a hair with the collision. So go to base NPC, select the helmet, the static meshes that we have added, and just do no collision. And for hair, static mesh, so both of them, no collision. Compile and save. Now it should be all good. What? It's not all good. Okay, so we do have a collision somewhere else as well. Base NPC. Capsule component. Okay, so there is a capsule component as well. So collision presets, do custom, and just turn off the camera to ignore. That should be all of it. Yeah, there we go. So now it doesn't block your camera, you can walk behind the traders. And that is all I actually wanted to do in this video, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye!